So today's video is another video in the Hachette Disney Crochet magazine subscription series, which is a series of videos teaching the people that purchase the magazine subscription how to complete the granny squares to make the final blanket. The patterns are all included within the subscription. I myself do not own the copyright rights to, is that the right word? Copyright rights? I don't own the copyright to these patterns, which means that for anyone that doesn't already own these patterns, you won't unfortunately be able to follow along this video without the patterns. These are just simply a how-to guide for the people that already have the subscription. So I'm really sorry that you won't be allowed to stick with us, but I do look forward to seeing you in a future video for some of the patterns that I have written myself. So going into this pattern, this is issue number 47, and we are going to be doing the Tangled Damask rose square for this one. It looks like it should be a fun one. It looks like we've got lots of interesting and intricate stitches to do, but also, you know, it's going to be my favourite because it's only one colour. No loads of ends to sew in, which is fantastic. So we will only require the two colours for this video. We are using the candy pink for the main square, and then we've got the white there as well, but that is only for the border at the end. So I guess let's just get straight into it. Now, as we often do with these videos, we're starting off with a slip knot already on our hook with the candy pink yarn, which I've already gone ahead and done. And once you've got your slip knot on your hook, we need to chain 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For the next step, we need to do a slip stitch into our first chain that we did. So you can look at your V's that you've done. The first one away from the hook is our first one, and then 2, 3, 4, and 5. If you go in through your first one and pull up a loop and pull that loop straight through the loop that's already on your hook, and we've completed the foundation ring. For round 1, we want to chain 1, so yarn over, pull that one through. And then we want to do double crochets into the centre of the ring. So hold either side of your ring, pinch them between your fingers, pull it apart until you find your centre there. So for our double crochet, we're going in through the middle and we're pulling up a loop, so we've got 2 on our hook. We're yarning over and pulling that through both loops on our hook, and we've done 1. Back in through, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through both, there's 2, and again there's 3, 4, oh, just dropped my stitch, and 5. Now, due to the copyright reasons with the pattern, I can't tell you exactly how many stitches we need to do into the centre of that ring. I can tell you that they are all the same stitch, they're all the double crochets. So if you want to have a look at your magazine and look under round 1, it will tell you how many times you need to do the double crochet. And I will meet you when you've finished at the end of the round. Once you've done all your double crochets into your ring, you want to slip stitch into the first stitch that we did. So it's the first V beside the last one that you've just done. So we're going in through that one, pulling up a loop and pulling the loop straight through the loop that's on our hook. Round 2, you need to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are going to miss the next stitch, so we're not crocheting into the next one, we're going into the one after. Into the one after, you want to do 1/2 treble. So yarn over, remember to miss the next one, and into the one after, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. You then want to chain 2. And we're going to keep repeating that. So if you yarn over ready for your half treble, miss the next stitch, go into the one after, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all 3, chain 2, yarn over ready, miss the next stitch and into the one after, pull up a loop, pull through all 3, chain 2, and we're going to do that all the way around. Miss the next stitch into the one after, half treble, chain 2, miss the next stitch and into the one after, half treble, chain 2, miss the next stitch in the one after, chain 2, miss the next stitch, go in the one after, do your half treble and chain 2, miss the next stitch, go in the one after, do your half treble. Now once you've done that 7 times, we're missing the last stitch and we want to join with a slip stitch into the second chain. So you've got your chain stitches just here that we did at the start of the round. So go into the second one, pull up a loop and pull that one straight through the loop that's on your hook, and there's round 2 complete. For round 3, we want to do a slip stitch in the next 2 chain space. The 2 chain space is this space just here. So every space we did 1 half treble and then 2 chains. So this is a 2 chain space because it separates each of the half trebles. So go into that first space, pull up a loop and pull it straight through the loop that's on your hook. Once you've done your slip stitch into your 2 chain space, we're going to be learning a new stitch. And this is called a puff stitch. It's something that we haven't done yet in the subscription before, and this is quite commonly one that I would use as a popcorn stitch, I guess. I know that I've said to you guys in the past when we've done the popcorn stitches in the different patterns that I didn't really like the popcorn stitch that they were teaching, and I would show you in the future a different way of doing it. Well, this is the way that I do it most often, I guess. It gives kind of the same effect. So we've done our slip stitch into that 2 chain space and we've got our loop on our hook, and we then want to pull that loop so it's about 1 centimetre long. Once you're happy with the length of that one, and you can adjust it by either just pulling on your hook or pulling on your working yarn, you then want to yarn over, and don't pull too tight because you want it to be the same height as the stitch or the loop that's already on your hook. We're then going back in through the 2 chain space and pulling up a loop, and again pull it so it's the same height as the stitches or the loops that are already on your hook. We want them to be all the same length, and we want to keep doing that until we have got 9 loops on our hook. So from here, I'm yarning over again, keep pulling with your, if you hold your work that you've done so far, your crochet, in between your thumb and your index finger of your left hand, and then obviously you've got your hook in your right hand, if you pull between the 2 of them, it will keep all of these the same height. So we're going back in through and pulling up another loop. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 loops on our hook. Yarn over again, keep pulling so it's the same height, in through, pull up a loop, pull it to the same height. We've now got 7 loops, so we need to do it once more. Yarn over, keep pulling so it's the same height, in through, pull up a loop, and you've now got your 9 loops on your hook. Once you've got the 9 loops, we're then, and again, make sure I'm pulling downwards with my thumb and my middle finger holding onto my work, and then I'm pulling I don't know if you can see the position of my hook in my hand there. I'm still making sure that is tight, so these stitches aren't getting any smaller. We then want to yarn over, and if you pinch that puff stitch with your index finger and your thumb from your left hand, it will then keep them all the same height that they need to be. Point your hook downwards, because otherwise you will lose this loop that you've got here that you need to pull through all of the stitches on your hook. So point it down and then pull through all of those 9 loops, and you completed your puff stitch. We then want to secure all of those stitches together, all of those loops together, so we need to do a slip stitch. So yarn around your hook and pull it through the loop already on your hook, and there's your puff stitch finally finished. You now need to chain 1. We're now going to do another puff stitch into that same 2 chain space. If you want to, just to make more room, you can pull that puff stitch along. We're then going to yarn over into your space, pull up a loop so it's the same height as your last puff stitch, yarn over into your space, pull up a loop. I've now got 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over into your space, pull up a loop. I've got 7 loops. Yarn over into the space, pull up a loop, and I've got 7 loops on my hook. From here, I'm then pinching and holding those loops, yarning over and pulling through all of those 9 loops that I had on my hook. Just as we finished the last puff stitch, we want to do a slip stitch. So yarn over and pull that one through, and we're then chaining 1. We're now going to do into every 2 chain space around 2 puff stitches with a 1 chain separating it into the middle. So once you've done that puff stitch, I'm then going to yarn over and into the next space and pull up a loop so that it's around 1 centimetre long. Yarn over into the space, pull up a loop. Yarn over into the space, pull up a loop. Yarn over into the space and pull up a loop. I'm then yarning over, pulling through all of the loops on my hook, slip stitch, then chain 1, and now another puff stitch into that space. Yarn over into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over into the space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through all the loops that are on your hook, and a slip stitch to secure it. I shall do one more with you. So yarn over into your next space and pull this loop up to the height that you need it. Yarn over, back in through, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull up another loop, yarn over, pull through all of the loops on your hook, slip stitch to secure it, chain 1. I'm then going to push that one out the way slightly so I've got room to do my next puff stitch. Yarn over into the space, pull up a loop so it's the height that you want it, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull up a loop, yarn over and then pull through all of the loops on your hook, slip stitch to secure it. So if you do 2 puff stitches in every space around, remember it's puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch, next space, puff stitch, chain 1, puff stitch. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I've gone all the way around with my puff stitches, and the last stitch that I did was the slip stitch to secure the last puff stitch just there. After we've done that one, we need to join with a slip stitch into the first chain space. So by the first chain space, what they mean is you've got your 2 puff stitches here, and obviously you did a 1 chain in between the 2. So you want to go into the 1 chain space between both of those, pull up a loop and pull that one straight through to secure it so it looks like this. For round 4 we need to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. You then want to do 2 trebles into the same space that your chains are coming from. So we're yarning over and you've got that space just below your chains, just here. So we're going into the space and pulling up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and then do another treble into that same space. We then want to do 3 trebles into each of the next 1 chain spaces going around. So in between every puff stitch we will be doing 3 trebles. So yarn over and into the next space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and there is 1 treble, there's 2 and 3. Repeat that into the next space between the next 2 puff stitches. So there's 1 treble, 2 and 3. And then into the next space between the next 2 treble, between the next 2 puff stitches, there's 1 treble, 2 and 3. So if you continue with that going all the way around, I'll meet you at the end of the round. Once you've done your last 3 trebles, we want to finish off round 4 with a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. The 3 chains are the chains that we did at the start of the round, so go into the 3rd one, pull up a loop and pull that through the loop on your hook. Round 5 you need to chain 1, and then we're doing a double crochet in the space between the final treble of round 4 and the standing chain. Now that can be quite difficult to understand. So we've got the 1 chain that we've just done. You've got your cluster of 3 stitches just here, which is your treble, and your 3 chains that you did at the start of the last round, which they call the standing chain. You've then got 3 trebles just here, which is the cluster of the 3 trebles, the last 3 trebles that we did of the last round. So they want us to pull that apart and go into that space between those 3 trebles and those 2 trebles and that standing chain just here. So pull those apart, make sure you've got your standing chain here and your last treble just here. Go in between the 2, pull up a loop so you've got 2 on your hook, yarn over and pull through both, and you've done your double crochet. We then want to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. After those 3 chains we need to do a double crochet in the next space between the 3 trebles. So you've got your 3 here and you've got your 3 here. We've just been in this one, we need to go into the space between the next. So into that space, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. We need to do that 3 times, so we've done it once. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then double crochet into the space between the next 6 trebles. So we're going into here. We've now done that twice. 3 chains and into the next space between your 3 trebles and do your double crochet. We then need to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and then do a double crochet in the next space between the 3 trebles. So we're going into the next one along and doing our double crochet. We then want to chain 3 again. 1, 2 and 3. And we're then doing a double crochet into the next space. So we've gone back to the beginning. So at the start of the round, we did 3 chains, 1 double crochet into the space 3 times. So we've done it once, chain 3 again, into the next space with a double crochet. We've done it twice, chain 3, there's 1, 2 and 3, into your next space with a double crochet. Chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, double crochet into the next space. Back to the beginning, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, 1 double crochet into the space. We've done it once, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, into the next space with a double crochet. We've done it twice, chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, into the next space with a double crochet. We've done it 3 times, so we can chain 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and double crochet into the next space. We need to keep repeating that, so we've got to do our 3 chains and 1 double crochet 3 times again. So there's 1, 2 and 3, double crochet into your next space. There's 1, so we need to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, double crochet into your next space. We've done it twice, 1, 2 and 3, double crochet into your next space, and we're almost back at the beginning of the round now. So we need to chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and then we're joining with a treble stitch into the first double crochet stitch that we did. So if you can see, you can pull up, you've got a massive gap there. Those are the first chains that we did. And you've got a V at the beginning, which is joining it to your work. That is the first double crochet that we did. And we need to do a treble into that one. So I'm yarning over and I'm going into that stitch and pulling up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. And we have just completed round 5, and it should look like this. For round 6, we want to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. We then want to do 2 trebles into the same space that our chains are coming out of. So if you yarn over and you've got this massive space here before your smaller space, which is beside it. So into the massive space, we want to do 2 trebles. I've yarned over into the space, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So there's 1 treble and 1 more into what will then be our corner space. We want to do 3 half trebles into each of the next 3 chain spaces. So we've got 3 gaps here. There's 1 there, there's 1 there, and there's 1 there. And they are each made up of 3 chains. So those are our 3 1-chain spaces. The larger one on the corner of the square here is a 6-chain space that we did, and that will form the corner of our square. But for now, we need to do 3 half trebles into each of those 3 chain spaces. So yarn over into your next space and pull up a loop so you've got 3 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through all 3. So I've done 1, there's 2 and 3 into my next space. There's 1, 2 and 3. Into the next space, there's 1, 2, and 3. And we're now at our first corner. Into the corner, we're doing 3 trebles, 2 chains, and 3 trebles. So yarn over, into the corner and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. I've done 1 treble. Pull through 2, pull through 2. There's my second treble. And my third. Chain 2, 1 and 2, and now 3 more trebles into that space. Pull through 2, pull through 2. There's 1, 2, and 3. So you can continue with this one going around. You just need to remember that the stitches in the middle and the stitches in the corner are different for this round. So into these 3 spaces in the middle, you want to do 3 half trebles, 3 half trebles, and 3 half trebles. Into the corner, it's 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. So remember, it's 3 half trebles in each of these 3 spaces. In the corners, it's 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So I'm at the end of round 6. Into the corner space, we want to do 3 trebles. So yarn over, into your space and pull up a loop. Yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. There's 1, 2, and 3. From here, we want to do 1 chain, and then we want to finish with a double crochet into the 3rd chain. So have a look at your 3 chains at the start of the round and count up your 3rd. Into that one, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through both, and you've finished round 6. So for round 7, we want to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Once we've chained 4, we want to miss the 3 chains from round 6. Now what that means is at the start of rounds, if we pull that apart so we can see the corner, just put your finger up through there so you know where the corner space is, and you can see that you've got 3 stitches here. So this was, looking back, a treble and then a treble, and these are your 3 chains from the start of round 6. You want to miss them out. We aren't going to do any stitches into the top of those chains. We do need to do a treble into the stitch after. So if you yarn over, we're not going into the top of these, we're going into that middle stitch just here, the first treble. So go into that one, pull up a loop, you've got 3 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. We then want to 1 chain, yarn over again, ready for your next treble. We're missing a stitch, going into the one after. Pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. Miss a stitch, treble in the next, chain 1. Miss a stitch, treble in the next, chain 1. Miss a stitch, treble in the next, chain 1. Miss a stitch, treble in the next, chain 1, and then miss a stitch and treble in the next, and chain 1 again, and you'll have 1 stitch left over at the end, which is the equivalent of the ones that we've missed, because we've done a 1 chain above every stitch that we've missed. Well, we've just chained 1, so we're missing that next stitch, and then we'll be going straight into the next corner. Into the corner, we're doing 1 treble, 3 chains, 1 treble. So yarn over and into your corner, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and you've done your treble. Chain 3, 1, 2 and 3, and one more treble into the corner space. Once you've done that, you want to chain 1. You're going to miss the first stitch and treble into the one after. Chain 1, miss the next stitch, treble into the one after. Chain 1. So if you continue with that going around, remember it's chain 1, miss a stitch, 1 treble, chain 1, miss a stitch, 1 treble. Your corners are 1 treble, 3 chains, 1 treble, but remember after your corner to chain 1 and skip a stitch. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So once you get to your last corner, we need to do a treble into the corner space. So yarn over, into your space, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. You then want to chain 1, and we're finishing off with a half treble into the 3rd chain this time. So yarn over, you've got your 3 chains here from the beginning, go in through the 3rd, if I can, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops that are on your hook, and you've finished round 7. So we're now moving on to round 8, which is the last round in the candy pink colour before we do the border. So we need to chain 3. 1, 2 and 3. We then want to do 2 trebles into the corner space. So yarn over, you've got your corner just at the base of your chains. So into there, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, there's 1 treble, and do another treble into that space. Once you've done those 2 trebles, we want to do 2 trebles into each of the next 8 one chain spaces. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 one chain spaces, and we're going to do 2 trebles into each of those spaces. So yarn over ready into my first space, pull through 2, there's 1 and 2 into my next space, 1 and 2 in my next space, 1 and 2, then 1 and 2, then 1 and 2 into my next, there's 1 and 2 into my next, there's 1 and 2, and into my last space there's 1 and 2. I don't expect, by the way, I've never said this before, but when I'm crocheting really quickly, I don't expect you to keep up with me. I'm only crocheting that quickly because you can see exactly what you're doing there, and I need to get to the corner as soon as possible, so I don't make you wait watching the video and think this is really boring. So yeah, I just try to go as quick as I can just so I can get to the corner and show you what you need to do without having to keep sort of stopping and starting the video. So we're at the corner. Into the corner we're doing 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. So yarn over ready, into your corner, there's 1 treble, 2 treble and 3, 2 chains, 1 and 2 and 3 more trebles. 1, 2 and 3. So for this round it's 2 trebles into every space along. Your corners are 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. I'll meet you at the end of the round. So to finish off round 8, we want to do 3 trebles into the corner space. There's 1, 2, and 3, 2 chains, and then do a slip stitch into the 3rd chain. So 1, 2, 3, pull that one through, and there is our Tangled Damask rose square complete apart from the border. So you can go ahead and fasten off your candy pink. Now before we get into the border, I just want to ask what everyone thought of this, because while I've been doing that one, I found it really quite challenging. Now obviously I'm someone that's, as you know, been crocheting for many years, and I really enjoy it. So when it comes to doing something like this, which is quite intricate and quite different, and not necessarily the norm to normal crochet patterns, because you've got stitches there that we wouldn't normally be doing, and I must admit, reading the pattern for this one, it took me sometimes a blimmin' long time reading through it to actually work out what we needed to do. So I found this one quite challenging, and that was quite nice for me. It was quite nice to be able to read a pattern and go, hold on a minute, I'm not quite sure what we're doing here. So whilst this one might not look the best, because it's not all fancy with the different colour changes and everything, it's probably one of my favourites that I've had to crochet, because it's quite different from anything that I've done before, I guess. But anyway, I just wanted to get that out, because no doubt I'll put the border on now, and given my ADHD brain, I will completely forget to say all that. So anyway, let's get on with the border. What we're going to do is use our white and join it to any of our corner spaces. Now I don't know about you, but this square has come out quite large for me. Comparing it to some of the squares we've done recently, it's basically exactly the same size, and I haven't even got the border on yet. So I think this is one of the squares that I am going to do the shorter border on, to make sure I'm not adding extra length, extra width onto this square, so it ends up huge compared to a lot of the other squares. So my white's attached. Now, for all those that haven't followed one of my videos where I've changed the border before, I am going to do it in exactly the same amount of stitches, but just with a different stitch. I hope that makes sense. I will show you what I mean. So if your square is on the smaller side, use the stitches mentioned in the magazine, which is the half treble. And what for that one it tells you to do is chain 2, half treble into each of the next 10 stitches, and the half treble, it's yarn over into your stitch, pull up a loop, so you've got 3, yarn over and pull through all 3. So you would do 10 of them, 2 in the next, and then 11. Your corners would be 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble. But I'm not doing the half treble stitch because my square is already too big. So instead of chaining 2 at the beginning, we're going to chain 1. And then we're going to use the double crochet, or I say I am going to use the double crochet stitch. It's completely up to you which stitch you use depending on the size of your square. So instead of the 10 half trebles, 2 half trebles in the next, 11 half trebles, I'm going to do exactly that, but with the double crochet stitch instead. So into my first stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, I've done 1. Into my next, there's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Into my next stitch, I want to do 2 stitches. So going through, I've done 1 double crochet, and then my second into the same stitch. I now want to do 11 single double crochets. So into my next stitch, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 and 11, and I'm at my first corner. Into the corner, it's one stitch, 2 chains, 1 stitch. So either 1 half treble, 2 chains, 1 half treble, or 1 double crochet, 2 chains, 1 double crochet. And I'm obviously going to stick with the double crochets. So in there, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through both. There's 1 double crochet, 2 chains, and 1 double crochet. So depending on what stitch you're using, either the half treble or the double crochet, you want to do 10 single stitches, 2 in the next, 11 single stitches. Your corners are 1 stitch, 2 chains, 1 stitch, either your half treble or your double crochet. So go all the way around and I'll meet you at the end of the round. So to finish off the border, you want to do 1 stitch into the corner, and that's either the half treble if you're sticking with the magazine instructions, or the double crochet, which is what I've been doing. So I'm going to go in through and do my double crochet. You then want to do 2 chains. We're then going to finish off with a slip stitch. Now, if you're doing the half trebles, you would have done 2 chains. Oh, sorry, gone out of focus. You will have done 2 chains at the beginning, and you want to slip stitch into the second chain. If you have done double crochets, you haven't got any chain stitches there, so you will need to slip stitch to the first double crochet that you did in through that V. So I'm going in through, pulling up a loop, pulling it through the loop on my hook, and you can fasten that one off. So there you have it. That is the Tangled Damask Rose Square from issue 47. As I just said, I absolutely love doing this. It was really difficult at times. It really challenged me. It might have given me a bit of a headache, to be quite honest, but I actually did really love doing it because it was something completely different to do. I hope you've enjoyed making this one as well. Remember, if you are a subscriber to the magazine and you've used my video to make the square, to please leave it a like so I know that you are one of the people that are still using the videos. If you want to leave a comment below the video, I will reply to everyone. If you're having difficulty with it, I understand this is quite a difficult square. Please do comment and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you want a notification when the next video is uploaded, because I always forget to post on social media that I've done it. So I guess all that's left to say until the next video is have an absolutely fantastic week, and I will see you soon. Bye.